Okay, let's think about this. What if your job, yeah, disaster. They really emphasize the scale, largest contract we've ever attempted, too rich to pass up, huge stakes.
And then complete failure. All 5 operatives killed. Instantly raises the tension through the roof.
You connect that back, and it's clearly the trigger for everything that follows, the sheer value, the total loss. It screams betrayal or a massive screw-up.
And we find out which it was pretty quickly. The source of the failure. Harry McKenna, his mentor.
The mentor figure sold them out for, what was it, $20 million?
A hefty sum. And the reasons given are almost cliches of human weakness, right? Getting older, feeling vulnerable, debts, a troubled son.
Paints a picture of a man cracking under pressure. It shows that even in these secret worlds, basic human failings are the weak points. Loyalty isn't absolute.
And you have to wonder how people in jobs like that handle aging, handle their circumstances changing when the stakes are life and death.
The response from the organization is, well, predictable, swift, brutal. Harry needs to be removed immediately.
And because of their history, their connection, Arthur gets the job. No hesitation shown, just a cold, hard decision.
They use the Rubicon metaphor, which really underlines it. No turning back. Harry crossed a line, sealed his fate. Just like Caesar crossing the river meant war, Harry's betrayal means this.
It shows the unforgiving nature of their code. Betrayal equals death. Sentimentality. Dangerous. Giving Arthur the job, despite their bond, shows the organization puts its rules above everything.
Okay, so the actual removal of Harry, the extraction, it plays out like a textbook spy thriller.
Totally. Manipulating a power outage, knowing about the service elevator having its own power.
Right. Using that, getting down to an underground parking lot, disappearing. It's all about planning and knowing the environment inside out.
The level of detail is impressive. Exploiting a power cut, knowing escape routes, backup power sources. It speaks to serious preparation.
And then they create the cover story, a carjacking.
Which is chillingly ordinary, isn't it? A common crime used to hide something way more deliberate and complex.
Keeps the attention away, controls the narrative. Makes sense.
Essential for staying hidden. A believable story diverts any suspicion from the real actors.
The actual confrontation between Arthur and Harry, though, it's quiet, understated. Harry seems like he's expecting it.
Yeah, resigned. And that line, more of a loss for you than me. Wow. That carries a lot of weight.
What do you think he meant by that?
Hard to say, for sure. Maybe recognizing their past connection. A sense that Arthur is losing something personal by doing this, more than just completing a job. Hints at a bond deeper than just work colleagues.
And then, just when you think you have Arthur figured out as this cold machine,
he connects with Harry's son, Steve. Completely unexpected.
Offers him a ride, shows him his place, helps with his broken-down car. It's such a jarring shift from the guy who just executed his mentor.
This adds such a layer of complexity to Arthur. You see empathy, a desire to help. It feels contradictory to his job. Right?
Totally. So what's driving it? Guilt. Responsibility because of Harry. Or maybe, like that earlier comment, he does need some kind of connection, filling a void in his own life.
It raises all those questions. And then right in the middle of being helpful, Arthur just casually drops that line about kill myself a couple carjackers tonight.
Ugh, yeah. That contrast is brutal. It snaps you right back to who he is, what he does for a living. Even while showing kindness, the violence is just there, normal for him.
Shows how desensitized someone can become, maybe. Lethal force as just another tool in the toolbox. A huge disconnect between that professional reality and this unexpected mentorship with Steve.
And that mentorship keeps going. It really develops, helping with the car, getting him that dog.
Yeah, it becomes almost like a father-son thing.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to watch unfold in these classic movies to watch.
Exploring how connection can pop up in the weirdest, most unlikely places. Arthur filling a gap in Steve's life, maybe Steve filling one in Arthur's too.
And Arthur starts learning more about Steve, right? His family background, his past troubles, and he's actively trying to guide him.
Giving advice, support. It feels like the professional killer is genuinely trying to steer this kid away from a path like his own, a life of hardship or violence.
That's the core contradiction, isn't it? A guy who ends lives is investing so much in improving one. Does it suggest maybe a desire for redemption? Or at least recognizing how destructive his world is and wanting to shield someone else from it.
Interesting thought. Okay, then we get new targets. A deli worker, seemingly random, and then Andrew Vaughn, this controversial figure.
Different methods are discussed. Ketamine versus an adrenaline shot. They even talk about potential countermeasures.
It's very clinical again. Detached, like ordering off a menu. Why ketamine versus adrenaline, though? Is there a reason?
Well, they don't spell it all out, but you can infer. Ketamine might be harder to trace after death, perhaps.
Yeah.
More subtle. An adrenaline shot seems direct, but they mention it can be unreliable or maybe misinterpreted by first responders, hence the backup plan involving EMTs. It shows technical know-how.
They have contingencies for their contingencies.
Exactly. Andrew Vaughn described as running a cult, making millions. He's the big target here.
And the plan is direct. Adrenaline shot to the heart, 12 cc's, dead under 3 minutes. Swift.
Again, it highlights that detached professionalism. Get in, get it done, minimize risk. The mention of adrenaline being unreliable and needing the EMT backup shows how thoroughly they think through potential problems.
But just as things seem to be rolling along, the whole structure starts to shake.
Yep.
The confrontation with Dean.
Ah, yes, the big reveal. A massive double cross.
Hmm.
Dean was behind the Cape Town disaster all along.
He paid Arthur to kill his own team and frame Harry.
Yep. Apparently because Harry was getting suspicious about Dean about some other blown operation, Dean needed him silenced.
Wow. So the betrayal runs even deeper. It just shows how unstable these networks are. No real trust. Even at the top, everyone's looking out for number one. Harry's suspicion, his integrity maybe, got him killed.
And Arthur's reaction when he finds out he was played, that's a huge turning point.
Oh, yeah. It stops being just the job. His focus snaps entirely onto Dean and becomes personal. Deeply personal.
Vengeance is the mission. That line says it all. He's not just an operative anymore. He's driven by revenge.
And that changes things, right? Acting out of emotion versus cold calculation.
Usually leads to riskier moves, less predictable outcomes.
And it culminates with Arthur putting a price on Dean's head, using the system against the man who ran it.
A fitting move,
Yeah.
in a way. But the ending,
Yeah.
it's left hanging, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Can Arthur actually walk away from this life?
That's the big question. Can someone so deep in ever truly get out clean?
Or does the cycle of violence and betrayal just keep going?
So wrapping up this deep dive into these classic movies to watch, we've seen this really intense mix of cold-blooded professionalism and these moments of unexpected human connection.
Definitely. We've looked at betrayal, how deep it can run, and the incredible meticulous planning that goes into this kind of dangerous work, all drawn from the stories in these films, which, as you said, originated from the Hollywood Action YouTube channel.
And these stories, even though they're fiction, they give you a pretty powerful, maybe exaggerated look at human nature under pressure in these extreme situations.
What stands out is that constant push and pull, I think,
Yeah.
between needing to be detached to do the job and that fundamental human need for connection, for relationships, that seems to pop up even in the darkest settings.
Absolutely. What part surprised you the most as you watch these unfold, thinking about it now?
Maybe just how quickly Arthur pivots to mentoring Steve. The sincerity of it, despite everything else.
Yeah, that's a good point. And what does that tell you about him? It really makes you think about motivations. Well, if this deep dive sparked your interest, you should definitely check out the Hollywood Action YouTube channel. That's where all this great content came from.
Yeah, absolutely. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the bell, too, so you get notified about everything new they put out. You won't want to miss their future deep dives.
So the final thought to leave you with, is there ever really a clean break from a life like this? A life built on violence, deception? Or does that kind of existence change you so fundamentally that a normal life is just impossible? That's something these classic movies to watch definitely leave you chewing on.